All right, we're going to switch over and do some landscape drawing right now. You're going to find that the process is very much the same, but of course the drawing and the standards look a little bit different. So to get started, we're always in this class starting by opening our resource file and then typing DC for the Design Center and pulling it over, looking at open drawings. There are other ways to do this that work just as well. It depends on how your company will do it. Fortunately, in design technology, we have a wide range of skills with our professors. You will find different ways to do this so that you will be well prepared. I happen to like practicing the same thing over and over and over again, so you sort of get it down. And then you'll be able to do so with the other professors. All right, so here we go. I'm ready to start a new drawing. And remember, I've got my setup all done over here. I've taken my line weights, right click, and I've made sure that I'm going to talk in inches. And so now it's time to start a new drawing. There we go. I turn off the grid. The first thing I always do is type units. And landscapers often use architectural style. Okay, and I'm going to put it into the nearest 1/4 inch. And I'm not sure what my degrees are going to end up doing, so I'll make that a little bit better. Now remember, I'm still going by inches, but when I do lengths and call it architectural, it'll know what you mean when you use the foot and inches symbols. Right? And then, of course, I need to save my file. Lots of ways to do that, but I usually do save as, and it's a drawing, DWG. And this one's going to go as plate 4.2. with my initials. Of course, you'll put your initials on it. Okay, so I'm ready to get drawing. So there's a few things I'm going to need to do. One, I like to see what I'm drawing and put it right in here with it. And so I'm gonna insert that thing like we did before. Insert, and I'm going to go find my little copy of it that I've made. I've put it on my computer. So I can go to my downloads. Actually, that is where I put it. Plate 4.2 landscape. That's what I'm going to draw. And just hit OK for that. And I want it, it's pretty big, so I'm going to make it big. I don't know how big that is, but you can see that's many feet across. Okay, if I need to, I can type DIST and just see how big I made that. Oh, it needs to be much, much bigger if I'm going to be able to see it. So I'm going to have to make it a lot bigger. That was only a foot. So I'm going to make it a lot bigger so that I can see it really well. I just zoomed out and grabbed it and zoomed out and grabbed it again. Because I'm going to be drawing way out here, and I'll have to reference that as I go. And then looks like everything is about the same line weight. And in landscape architecture, that's called thick or thin. So I'm going to add 2 line layers, thick and thin. So let's go up to my layers in my library resource file and see if I don't have thick or thin. So I need to make some new layers. Remember, to make new layers, I can either type layer or click this layer properties button. Pull it down over here. And I'm going to duplicate one and call it thick. And it's white, black, white, continuous 0.028. So I got all that right. And then I want another one called thin that's about half that. So I'll come over and make that one 0.014. So now I've got two more layers that I can use, and those are the ones I'm mostly going to use, thick, thin, and I'm going to use my phantom layer just to line things up. That's going to be like my construction. Thick, thin, and I thought I had a phantom layer in here. I guess I don't. Let me also make a phantom layer in here. I thought I had one. Guess not. Okay, so I can make it from anything, and that's going to be called phantom. I like to make those blue. It doesn't matter what color you make it. And it should be phantom. Phantom 2. And I'm going to make it even thinner because it's just for lining things up so that I can see things. Okay. So when I go over to my ROS, I'm going to put in the phantom. And I'm going to put in thick and thin. Now I'm ready to draw. Let's take a look at this and see. This is an orthographic drawing. This is like the front view. There's columns. They're 4-inch square columns. And, oh no, there's 4 square columns, and the columns are 8-inch by 8-inch. And they're 8 feet tall. Okay, and then there's a couple of beams that are 3.5 by 9.5, 3.5 wide by 9.5 tall. And on top of those beams, this is an end view, so there's some rafters. This is a side view of the end view of this rafter. And then on the very top, there's these little, I think they're 1 by 1, 1.5 by 1.5. They're called stringers. So this is from the side view, you would see the end of them up there. This funny little shape right here is looking at the end of this. So I'd look straight over at it, and I would just see that. And it doesn't really give us much information about what these little things look like, so you'll just draw an estimate of them. This is also a bolt. I don't think you need to show the bolt. And it gives you some spacings and things like that. So we're going to draw that. And we're going to start with the end view. And I'm going to start with the columns. And I'm just going to make something that's 8-inch wide by 8 feet tall. And then I'm going to copy it 8 feet over. So let me do that. It's going to be 8 inches wide, 8 inches wide, tab, 8 feet tall. So I can make this a little bit smaller and still be able to see everything probably. There we go. So that's 8 inches wide and 8 feet tall. And then I can copy that over 8 feet. Just pick anywhere and 8 feet. Enter. Now let's see. I put those on the 0 layer, so those should probably be on the thick layer. And I should probably keep drawing on the thick layer. See what that looks like when I turn my line weights on. Yeah, little bit heavy looking, but that's okay. And then there's some sort of a little thing at the top. So I'm going to just draw a little thing up here that maybe it looks like that. And I can move that from the midpoint. I'm going to use a lot of midpoints. So I'm going to make sure my midpoint is centered. So let's try that again. Move that object, enter, select the midpoint, left click down to the midpoint. And then I'll make another one that's just a little bit smaller than that. And I'll move that one into place. And I'm just drawing something that I think might kind of look like it. And then I think that that is mirrored about the middle. Cool. And then I can take those two and I can copy those and I can just go anywhere. So midpoint to the left to midpoint to the left. And now I'm going to go ahead and do some trimming. You may or may not want to. It's okay. But then it's going to look a little bit more like it. So this is a left click, drag my mouse, left click, and then come over here, left click, drag the mouse, left click, drag the mouse. And you'll get good at moving things and moving your view around and zooming in and out so you can do this well. And then I'm going to say that I'm done. Double click my mouse wheel. Now I see everything. Okay, my next thing is I want to put this beam on top. Oh no, now I need these little things. I'm going to say that those are pretty much just like this. So I can copy those. There we go. And so I need to do some trimming there too. There we go. And I hit my double mouse wheel again. So now I've got this thing. It's 12 foot long from end to end. And it's 9.5 tall. So I can make a rectangle. It doesn't tell me anything about this. So I'll just estimate it. So it's a rectangle that's 12 by 9.5. 12 feet. So I type 12 and then the foot symbol, which is an apostrophe. And it's 9.5 inches tall. And then I need some sort of little shape over here. And I'm going to do one called nearest. Because then it'll let me just find a spot on here. Come over. I'll come down at some angle. Come over and come down. And then I can make a mirror of that also. So that it goes over to the other end. There's my midpoint. Go straight up. And, hey, when I do that, I hit escape instead of enter. And now I can trim away TR or hit that little thing. There. And it says that this end goes 2 foot out from the center. 2 feet. That's what it says. So now I can move that. so that this point lines up, and then I can move it again so that it comes down and contacts. And then I'll get rid of that. There we go. So I'm not doing too bad here. I better save this. As soon as I've done a substantial amount of good work, I want to save it. Double click my mouse wheel to see everything. Now I've got these things. And I have to figure out where they are and what they are. I'm looking at the end of this, and it's 1.5 wide by 7 1/4 tall. So I can start with that, 1.5 wide by 7 1/4 tall. Rectangle, 1.5 wide, tab 7.25 tall. And it looks like they're spaced. I think that that's on center. So the center of it goes in 1 foot 6 1/4 inches. So there's a few ways I can do that, but I'm going to do it by moving it so that the center is sitting right on top of that, right on the corner. And then I'm going to move that 6 space 1/4. Oop. I think I moved it over 6. Let me just take a distance. So it's move. .25 inches. There we go. And then it says that they are spaced 1 foot 9.5 inches. 1 foot dash 9.5 inches. Let's see, there's a couple of ways I can do that. I can use array, but I'm just going to use the copy command. 1 foot dash 9.25 inches. And then I can copy, much like I've done before. I'm going to copy that, enter, and I'm just going to go corner to corner to corner to corner. Corner to corner. That's looking okay. And now my last thing is those little stringers that are on the top, and that's 1.5 by 1.5. So it's 12 foot wide by 1.5 tall. So here we go. 12 foot, that's the apostrophe, 1.5 tall. And again, there's a few ways that you can go about moving these, but I like to do it like a simple way. And then I'll move it up. Okay, so I've got one view ready. Okay, so I better save my work. Now I need to project my other view. Here they're 9'4" apart. So let me copy one of these. And I'm just going to start it over here. That looks like maybe a good spot to put it. And I copied a little too much. And now I have to copy that 9 foot 4 inches. 9 foot 4 inches. 9 foot dash 4 inches. Inches are the quotation mark. Okay, so now I've got that. And sitting on top of each of those is the end view of this. And that's 3.5 wide by 9.5 tall. .5 wide, tab 9.5 tall. And I'll put it on the middle, and then I'll copy it over to the middle of the other one. There we go. If you want to, you can project these extra lines across. I don't think they're super necessary. Now I've got this rafter, and it's 12 foot by 7.25. I'm going to show you kind of a trick way to make that one. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy that thing. And there's a very cool thing called the stretch command. So I'm going to make this line 7.25. And this is just, you could just draw this, by the way. But this is a kind of a cool way to be able to do this. And I get to show you the stretch command. Stretch. I'm going to highlight these lines. Enter. And I'm going to take that midpoint, and I'm going to lock it right up to there. So what I did is I squeezed it all down. I stretched it to that midpoint. Cool. And then this one, I'm going to just draw a line in between these. And I'm going to put it there. So that's not a bad way to do it. There. Now I've got all of these things sitting on the top. See if it shows me where the first one is. First one is 1 foot 1.25 from the end. And remember, those are stringers that are 1.5 by 1.5. So let me put one 1.5 by 1.5. And let me see how they're arranged. It says from the end to the midpoint, I think. So let me move this thing so that its midpoint is on the end. And then move it 1 foot 6.25. One foot dash 6.25. Okay, that's where it should be. Let's come on over here and see. Oh, so now I can use these as my copy points. Isn't that cool? So watch. I'm going to copy that. And I know it's going to go from here to here to here, because they're the same thing. They're on the same. Oh, let's see. Actually, I was reading that wrong. These are, sorry, these are 11. It's 1 foot, 1 1/4 in, and it's 11 3/4. So I need to undo all that. Go put that back. I was reading the wrong thing. You can do that sometimes. Just catch it if you can. This direction here is this direction. So it's 1 foot, 1 1/4 in. One foot dash 1.25 inches. Okay, that looks like it's in the right place now. And they are 11.75 across. There we go. Getting those. Okay, now I've got my right side view, so I better save it. And it's time for this top view. Well, you've done things like this already. Okay, but we can go ahead and get, there's a lot of trimming to do and things like that. So, but I'm going to draw these 4 8x8 posts. But I need to make it the top of this. So let me go DIST and figure out about how big I made that. 1 foot, 2.5. 1 foot dash 2.5 tab 1 foot dash 2.5. There we go. And now it's got to line up. And I'll get my view started about right there. That's looking down on these blocks. And it is 9 foot 4 inches across. Nine foot dash 4 inch. So now I've got those. Now it's time to draw all these little stringers. And I can draw these too, but I think I'm just going to draw my stringers. Okay, so it's 12 foot across and in. So they're 12 foot by 1.5. I can just copy them. So there's my sideways ones. I just need to figure out where it starts. And it looks like I'm going to have to draw a line. Let's see, how am I going to place those? I think I need to draw a 12-foot by 12-foot rectangle to be able to place those. 12 foot by 12 foot. And watch, if I go, the center of that has to lie on that. So if I move that from something called the geometric center, there we go. It's got a, that's the whole footprint. So now when I come over here, I want to move in 1 foot, 1 1/4. One foot dash 1.25 inches. Now I can get rid of this. I don't need it anymore. Because I know now I'm going to do an array just for fun. 11 columns. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there's 11 of them. No, there's one column. There's rows. 11. And they're 11.75 inches apart. There we go. That looks pretty cool. And on this one, I can draw another one of those. I can just take this one again. I was still in the array command. And then I can rotate it 90 degrees. Move it into place. And let's see. I think I'm going to need to be able to find the midpoint. Geometric center will go on the midpoint of this. And I can get rid of that line, and that has to go in 1 foot 6.25 inches. One foot dash 6.25 inches, and that one gets an array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them at 1 foot 9.5. So select the object, array, 6 columns, 1 row. And my memory is not very good. 1 foot 9.5. 1 foot 6-9.5. And I think I can make that a minus and it will go the other way. Let's find out. There we go. Cool. And that's enough. That's enough. I don't need to trim and all that kind of stuff. This is usually used just as an assembly to get an idea. And so that should be good. So there we go. We've got our drawing made. I'm going to now go to Apply Industry Standards, load the other line layers. So I know I'm going to need dim text. Drag it in. And I know I'm going to need no print. And I'm going to say that these look like they're architectural scale factor 1 as the dim style. Architectural. There it is. I'm just going to bring that one in right now. And my text styles, let's go with the architectural. Just because. All right. And so now I need my layout. I have suggested that it goes on a landscape B size. So here I go. I just pulled it right in. There it is. And I need, on my no print layer, go to the layout button, a rectangular one. So now I'm going to go make sure that I'm touching the model. I'm going to get that kind of in the middle. And let's see. It's like 0.01. Let's try 1 equals 20. Oh, that's too much. Oop, going the other way. So let's go 10 equals. Whoop. Let's go 1/16 of an inch. No, I'm just picking some, trying to see what's going to work out. That looks like a good one. That's a common scale. Quarter of an inch measured on the piece of paper is 1 foot in the real world. And I'm going to move that up just a hair. And now I'm going to lock it. So that's a good scale for me. And now the rest of it is you just putting in on the dim text layer all those things that we were looking at. Make sure now that you go to your piece of paper. And let's take our leaders. Let's see how big the leader is. I may need to make a leader style. We just have a standard one in here, I think. Let's see what it looks like. Let's go to the annotations and look at the leader style. And just see how big it is. I'm going to make a new one called landscape. 3/16 of an inch. That's pretty big. I'm going to make it 0.09, 3/32. (3-30). And let's look at the leader structure. That all looks okay. And the content, I'm going to make it 3/32 of an inch. Middle top. That looks okay. So let's do that. Let's just make it a little smaller. 3/32 of an inch. And let's also look and see. Let's go with our anno architectural style. And now from here, I can actually bring that in, and I can use that. So let's see what this leader will look like. This says it should be a rafter or a beam or something like that. And let's make sure that I put that on the right annotation one. I want it to be landscape. Oh, that's going to look much better, right? Looks like everything's going to fit much better. So make sure that your annotations are set to be landscape. And make those changes like I did. And then you can go back and put all your stuff on there. And let's see for text, or let's go into our architectural dimensions. And let's just see what this looks like. So that's to the nearest 16th, and that just looks way too much. So let's go fix that. This happens a lot. I'm going to manage that, and I'm going to modify it now so that instead of being to the nearest 16th, I'm to the nearest 1/4 inch. And I did something wrong in my drawing. That's okay. I'm more concerned. Yes, I'd like you to get it right. But I'm more concerned that you have all these standards being done correctly. Okay. Let's take a look and see what my dim styles look like. Make sure I've got my architectural in there. Okay, so if it's off by just a little bit, that's okay. Right? But you should be getting these in feet and all that other kind of stuff, maybe from the end point of here. Also to that midpoint. Okay? And so at this point, you just go back and forth and make sure that you're meeting all of those annotative requirements. You don't have to do anything with the title block. You don't have to do anything with notes. In this case, it's just make this drawing. Remember, your drawing is in model space. And all of your dimensions and annotations are on the layout. And make sure it says paper. I'm going to show you what happens if you try to do one of these in here. It's teeny tiny. You cannot see it. Okay, so if you cannot see it, it's probably because you're in the model when you're dimensioning instead of in the piece of paper. All right, there you go. That is your plate 4.2 demo landscape, and it's a pergola, and it is an orthographic projection. This is the type of drawing that's needed when you go to get your permits, and this would need a permit because it's more than 8 feet across. This is your sort of your permit drawing.